Hey there, today we're going to go over something I've been wanting to do since the launch of the Edge of Fate, but I've been busy grinding and making other videos. Today we're going to go over every single armor set bonus currently in D2 and give them a ranking on how good they are overall in PvE. We're going to have one tier list for all of the 2 set armor bonuses and then a second tier list for all of the 4 set armor bonuses. At the end of the video, I'll give you some additional commentary on which you should go for, either a double 2 set bonus or a 4 set armor bonus and why. To keep things easy, we're going to only have 3 tiers. Low tier, which are not really worth using at all, in my opinion. Mid tier, which is completely acceptable and may appeal to you depending on your build. And high tier, which in my opinion are the strongest armor set bonuses available in the game right now. And let's start off with the 2 set bonus tier list. Reminder, if you're new to the game, that these bonuses are acquired by just putting on 2 pieces of armor from one particular family. Kicking things off in low tier, we have Aeon Renewal. After a final blow with any rocket or grenade launcher, sprint for a short time to gain Speed Booster. Let me be clear, getting a free Speed Booster effect is unbelievably weak when compared to everything else on the table, which we will soon get to. Again, it isn't that Speed Booster is bad, moving fast is fun and can help you run through activities faster, but deliberately going for that armor set bonus when you have so many more better options is borderline irresponsible. Look, I'm definitely not going to try and stop you from enjoying the bonus if you like using it, but I promise you there are way better options right around the corner. Thankfully, that is the end of low tier. Everything else from here on out should be, at the very least, a respectable option. First off, in mid tier, we have Last Discipline. Final blows with primary ammo weapons grant your primary ammo weapon temporarily increased reload speed. This is a completely okay armor set bonus, and if you have a primary ammo weapon that you really enjoy using a lot that maybe has a slow reload speed, or maybe even a low mag size, like for example the Alethanim exotic grenade launcher, this could be a bonus you could get a lot of mileage out of. Not much else to say there. Moving right along, in mid tier, we have Tech Sec. You deal significantly increased kinetic damage to combatant shields, overshields, vehicles, and constructs. Constructs include barricades, turrets, stasis crystals, and other objects created in the field. To give you a demonstration of the increased damage, here I am in the firing range against a solar shielded enemy. I damage it normally with a bow and deal 111 damage. With the Tech Sec ×2 armor set bonus though, I deal 331 damage in just one shot, which is around a 200% increase in effectiveness overall. Basically, if you enjoy kinetic weapons a lot, or if you have one in particular you're very fond of using in PvE, this is relatively nice as it'll let you hit shields, overshields, and constructs way harder. It also pairs well with the 4 set bonus for Tech Sec, but again, we'll get to that later. Next, in the mid tier, we have Collective Psyche. Picking up an ammo brick gives you a stacking bonus to weapon swap and stow speed until you die. This one is pretty interesting that went a little bit deeper than I was expecting. The text is dead on. Every time you pick up an ammo brick, you do get a bonus to weapon swap and stow speed, but a small one. And the reason, probably, that it is a small buff is because the maximum amount is 20 stacks, way higher than I figured it would go. I was assuming maybe like 5 or 10 max, but no, 20. To give you an idea, here's how fast I stow and swap my weapons at 1 stack, and here's how fast I stow and swap weapons at 20 stacks. I'll admit it's definitely not a flashy bonus when compared to other options, but the free swap speed is very awesome in PvE, as it'll usually just make your gameplay feel snappier overall, especially if you're doing some bait and switch DPS on a boss where a lot of weapon swapping is usually involved. The final bonus we have in mid tier is Lustrous. Receiving healing temporarily grants your solar weapons increased flinch, resist, handling, and reload speed. Again, nothing terribly complicated. Free flinch, handling, and reload speed is all great to have in PvE, but the limitations are kind of annoying. Getting healing is easy enough. There's plenty of ways to get healing in the D2 sandbox right now, but A, the buff only applies to solar weapons, and B, the duration of the buff is only 4 seconds. Still, if you're getting constant healing, like say from a Well of Radiance, and you're taking damage routinely while in the well and using a solar weapon for DPS, then yeah, this would benefit you. Kicking off high tier, we have Bushido. Final blows with freshly drawn or reloaded weapons heal you. Naturally, free healing is awesome, but after some testing, I have to give you a warning on how the healing healing on Bushido actually works. In short, it's time gated, meaning you won't get free healing literally every time you draw or reload your weapon. And I can kinda understand that, because if it didn't work that way, it would be really, really broken. But yeah, after you get the free healing to proc, which by the way is admittedly a small amount of health, you then have to wait a few seconds before Bushido is able to heal you again. And even though some players may find that annoying, you're still getting small chunks of health completely for free. And again, it can be on any kind of weapon, which is great. Just a little bit of free healing for playing basically no differently than you would normally play. Next in high tier, we have Twofold Crown. Picking up an ammo brick heals you. It should come as no surprise that most healing related armor buffs will be high tier, except for one that we'll get to later. If you or your teammates are generating a decent amount of ammo bricks, then Twofold Crown is going to do a great job at keeping you alive. Important to note too that the amount of healing you get per brick is noticeably stronger than what you get from Bushido. So if there are a lot of ammo bricks on the ground, you could technically just leave them there and grab one if you need immediate healing in a pinch. As far as 2-set armor bonuses go, Twofold Crown is way up there in my book. And finally, our last 2-set armor bonus in high tier, Aeon Adapter. Final blows with any rocket or grenade launcher temporarily decreases incoming area of effect damage. Now, I need you to trust me, because some of you might be thinking, what in the hell are you smoking right now, Fallout? And I get your confusion. I was confused too until I saw the light. Even though the armor set bonus reads rocket or grenade launcher, the term rocket also applies to rocket sidearms and the all-new rocket frame pulse rifle Mint Retrograde, which is one of the stronger PvE weapons we've gotten in the Edge of Fate. In terms of temporarily decreasing incoming AoE damage, you should think of it like this. Every time you get a kill with any grenade launcher or rocket, which again includes rocket sidearms and Mint Retrograde, you essentially get concussive dampener, one of the best defensive chest armor mods, for free. Damage resist is very hard to test, but in all of my clips, I absolutely noticed taking less AoE damage once Aeon Adapter was active, and it has a very generous duration timer, 15 seconds, and it refreshes on a kill. In speaking with fellow testing nerd Mossy Max, who had also been fiddling with the perk on his own, he concluded that the amount of AoE damage reduction you get is 20% against enemies and 60% from yourself. Translation: get a kill with your rocket sidearm or Mint Retrograde, and you are now noticeably tankier against enemy AoE damage, which is a lot more prevalent in D2 than you might think. You definitely won't be invincible, but the generous timer and ease of activation make this a very good perk, especially when paired together with something like Bushido or Twofold Crown for additional free healing. And now that we have the 2-set bonus tier list out of the way, let's move on to the 4-set bonus tier list. But real quick, let me give a big thank you to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. Traditional headphones are great for tuning in and blocking out distractions, but sometimes you need something a little bit different. That's where the bone conduction headphones come in. They let you stay connected to your surroundings while still enjoying your music or podcasts. Perfect for outdoor runs, bike rides, or any moment where awareness matters. Raycon's all-new bone conduction headphones actually send sound through vibrations that bypass your eardrum entirely. So you hear your music loud and clear, but your ears stay open to the world. Again, great for outdoor runs or even swimming in the pool. Yeah, you heard me right. These are IP68 rated, meaning they're completely dust-proof and waterproof. That includes sweat, rain, sandy hikes, or even swimming in a pool. They also have 13 hours of battery life, so they'll keep going way after your playlist is done. If you train hard, sweat hard, or you just want an easy, comfortable, lightweight listening device, Raycon's bone conduction headphones are built for you. Don't wait, head over to buyraycon.com/falloutbc to get 20% off your order of the bone conduction headphones today. Again, 20% off at buyraycon.com/falloutbc. And again, thank you, Raycon. All right, we back. And like before, why don't we start off in the low tier of 4-set bonus tier list, kicking it off with Twofold Crown. Final blows with primary ammo weapons grant you briefly increased radar resolution. I will make a note that naturally this is a respectable bonus in PvP, as the more accurate radar information can help you better identify where the enemies are, but obviously in PvE, literally no one gives a shit about having better radar resolution. Go for Twofold Crown in PvP, otherwise ignore the 4-set bonus across the board. Next up, we have Aeon Renewal. Once per activation of Force Converter, sprinting while at critical health, being suspended or being slowed by a stasis effect will immediately grant speed booster for a short duration. Again, as I mentioned earlier with the 2-set bonus reward, who really cares about speed booster when there are way stronger options on the table? Also, if your goal is to just get speed booster a lot, stick with the 2-set bonus version, which should be more than enough. Dumping your entire armor set bonus just to go all in on speed booster is kind of weird. And if you do it, I think you're weird. Anyway, moving on to mid-tier, we're going to kick things off with Bushido, which I'm going to put an asterisk next to. Bow, shotgun, or sword final blows temporarily reduce incoming damage. Damaging targets with these weapons extends the effect. Now, your feelings may vary, but literally the only reason I'm putting this in mid-tier is because you are extremely limited by having to use bows, shotguns, or swords. If your name is Sammy Cat and you straight up only play this game with a bow, then yeah, this armor set bonus is going to be Omega God tier for you because you're literally getting free resist on the regular. I mainly use shotguns to engage in 1-2 punch shenanigans and don't use bows or swords too much compared to other stuff in the sandbox, so this is not an armor set bonus I enjoy or use very often. If you do use those weapon types though, then have at it and enjoy your awesome armor set bonus. Next in mid tier, we have Lustrous Rapid Solar Final Blows Heal You. And yeah, as much as we love free healing around here, I feel that what Lustrous brings to the table is good, but not worth an entire 4-set bonus. When it does kick in, yay, free health. But like Bushido, it's only a very small chunk of health. In my little testing clip here, you'll see I need to kill a few enemies before getting a small chunk of health for my Guardian. And again, while free health is free health, Bushido and Twofold Crown are IMO much easier to activate. Not to mention that both of those are available as a 2-set armor bonus, not a 4-set bonus like Lustrous. In my opinion, you would be 100% better off by just doing a double 2-set bonus in the form of any combination of Bushido, Twofold Crown, and even Aeon Adapter than you would be with the 4-set bonus from Lustrous. At the very high end of mid-tier, we come to Aeon Adapter, which, depending on how often you're getting it to proc, could arguably be high tier. When Force Absorption is active, taking melee damage causes you to emit a disorienting burst once. The only reason I hesitate to keep this out of high tier is that it requires you to take melee damage, which in higher level PvE content can be risky business, but the effect it produces is actually awesome. You emit a disorienting burst and the radius is actually fairly respectable. The enemy that whacked you, as well as other enemies nearby, maybe in about a 10-meter or so radius, will become disoriented for a moment or two. Pretty good, and again, borderline high tier if you're not playing too devil may care and getting roughed up by the enemy too often. I think I'd still rather go with a double 2-set bonus, but the 4-set bonus on Aeon Adapter is one I think you should definitely give a try to. You may have a lot of fun with it. I think you should go give it a whirl. Moving on to high tier, we have TechSec. Defeating powerful combatants or breaking a combatant shield with kinetic damage releases a disorienting kinetic shockwave. This is a bit like Aeon Adapter, but an offensive version rather than a defensive version, and one you can proc more frequently depending on your loadout. I think the 4-set TechSec bonus is a good idea if you have a strong primary weapon that you really enjoy using. For example, maybe you're playing a Peacekeeper Titan with a good kinetic SMG, or a Lucky Pants Hunter with a good kinetic hand cannon. The disorienting blast is strong, and because you're able to use it offensively, you may get more use out of it, again, depending on your build. You should especially think about trying out this 4-set bonus if your weapon has kinetic tremors on it, as then you'll really be ripping a lot of things up with your kinetic weapon, even on bulkier enemies. Next in high tier, we come to Last Discipline. Picking up an Orb of Power grants special ammo progress. This is extremely straightforward, not complicated, and borderline boring, but just a great 4-set bonus overall. Every time you grab an Orb of Power, which are just so easy to make in the current sandbox, you get a small chunk of progress on your special ammo meter, which reminder you can now see on your HUD. This is a very awesome set bonus, especially if your build has you spamming strong special ammo weapons like rocket sidearms or the Mint Retrograde. Easy to understand, easy to take advantage of, no thought required, GG. And finally, in high tier, we come to Collective Psyche. Suspend, unravel, and sever effects applied to targets, and radiant and restoration effects applied to you have increased duration. Let's talk numbers real quick. A question I had immediately with this bonus was, does it stack with subclass fragments that do exactly the same thing? For example, Ember of Solace already improves the duration of both Radiant and Restoration, and Thread of Continuity already improves the duration of Suspend, Unravel, and Sever. The TLDR is sometimes the effects stack, but the gains are so minimal that pairing both Collective Psyche and their matching class fragments together is not worth it. For example, I activate Radiant via the Fever and Chill artifact mod, and the base duration is 10 seconds. With Collective Psyche, that is extended to 15 seconds. Ember of Solace also extends Radiant to 15 seconds duration overall on Fever and Chill. With both of them together, though, the total duration is only around 16.25 seconds, meaning we only gained around 1 extra second by stacking both of them together. Similar numbers happened with Restoration via my Healing Grenade, as adding both together only managed to add around half a second total. For Suspend, Sever, and Unravel, I didn't witness any extension when both options were paired together at all. So in short, if we already have a class fragment that does exactly what Collective Psyche does, then why am I ranking it high tier? Well, it means that if you wanted to make a build where you're taking the most advantage of Radiant, Restoration, Suspend, Sever, or Unravel, you can now use Collective Psyche, and now you no longer need to use Solace or Continuation, and you can use any other fragment that you want for free, expanding the viability of your build overall. On top of that, think of things outside just Solar and Strand. If you're playing Prismatic, you don't have access to Ember of Solace at all. So if you're using Facet of Dawn to become Radiant, you get that duration extended from 5 seconds to 8 seconds for free, all thanks to Collective Psyche. If you're using a healing auto rifle like the No Hesitation, Collective Psyche also extends the duration of restoration you receive via healing a teammate. In short, with how strong Resto, Radiant, Unravel, Suspend, and Sever all are, extending their duration straight up for free is an unquestionable high tier armor bonus no matter how you look at it. All right, final thoughts. Should you run a 4-set armor bonus, or should you run a double 2-set? I think if your build is something very specific, like trying to abuse Suspend or Restoration, or maybe going ham with a kinetic weapon paired with kinetic tremors, you should probably go for a 4-piece set bonus. Again, Last Discipline, Collective Psyche, and TechSec are all extremely good if you have a very specific build in mind. However, if you just want to have 2 really good armor bonuses just helping you out with literally any other build you might be running, and you want to have good bonuses and turn your brain off, I think the play is 100% to roll with a double 2-set armor bonus loadout. At the end of the day, it's up to you, but hopefully you now have a much better idea about what to roll with. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.